Ladies and gentlemen, Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Russian Federation, Valery Nikolaevich Falkov. Good evening, honored ladies and gentlemen. Let me first read the welcoming address from the President of the Russian Federation. Dear friends, I welcome you to the solemn ceremony of awarding the National Prize in Future Technologies, VYZOV. It's heartening that your project, launched in 2023, has greatly strengthened its reputation, gained wide support from government authorities and major Russian corporations, helping many research and engineering teams bring bold, breakthrough plans to life. Today, the honorable awards are once again given to talented people, passionate about their work, to those who work with full dedication, seek unconventional scientific and tech solutions, set ambitious goals, sincerely aiming to serve their homeland. It's important to mention that large-scale, meaningful initiatives like the VYZOV Prize make a real contribution to popularizing science and education and spark young people's interest in creative research pursuits. The successful socio-economic development of Russia, strengthening its sovereignty and achieving technological leadership in key progress areas depend directly on this. I wish you all the very best. Vladimir Putin. Russia is experiencing a decade of science and technology by the decision of our President Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Many landmark and significant major events are taking place. And among these events, a special place is held by the National VYZOV Prize. I want to express my gratitude to its organizers. It has truly become an interesting and attractive event, one that people look forward to, aspire to be part of, and deeply value. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Good evening, dearest friends. The VYZOV Prize has become well known and respected in Russia and abroad. The proof of this is the huge number of strong applications, including an international nomination, demonstrating that VYZOV has become the center of gravity for cutting-edge science on a global scale. Every year, we don't just hand out awards, we try to reflect. Reflect on what science is, on the present and future of our civilization. However, it's impossible to think about the future without looking back. It's impossible to build something new without remembering your roots. Great, full-flowing rivers always start from a spring, just like knowledge gathers, carving its own way, and joins into a powerful stream. But reaching any, even the most incredible heights, we must always remember where our journey began. It's crucial to know when to stop, remember, and thank those who helped us take the first steps.
Давно друзья веселые, простились мы со школою, но каждый год мы в свой приходим класс. В саду березки с кленами встречают нас поклонами, и школьный вальс опять звучит для нас. Сюда мы ребятишками, с пеналами и книжками входили и садились по рядам. Здесь 10 классов пройдено, и здесь мы слово «Родина» впервые прочитали по складам. Под звуки вальса плавные я вспомнил годы славные, любимые и милые края. Тебя с седыми прядками над нашими тетрадками, учительница старая моя. Промчались зимы с веснами, давно мы стали взрослыми, но помним наши школьные деньки. Летят путями звездными, плывут морями грозными любимые твои ученики. Но где бы ни бывали мы, тебя не забывали мы, как мать не забывают сыновья. Ты юность наша вечная, простая и сердечная. Учительница первая моя.
Yes, friends, today we want to take you back to where it all started, to school. Yes, today you're back at the desks again. And again, some will listen eagerly, some will whisper to their neighbor, some will be bored, waiting for break time. And the strict teacher will watch closely to keep the classroom perfectly in order.
Проснитесь-ка, будьте добры. Вскочите, как ранние птички. Давайте пригладим вихры и в ленты нарядим косички. С цветами толпа детворы по утренним мчится прохладе. Пожалуйста, будьте бодры, в портфель собирая тетради. В начале осенней поры, пожалуйста, будьте добры, не спать на ходу, как тетеря, а школьные вычистить перья. Пожалуйста, будьте бодры. В начале осенней поры, в начале осенней поры беру я цветные шары и в школу влетаю, пишу и читаю. Потише-ка, будьте добры, точить на уроках балясы, проказничать, строить гримасы, валять дурака, отвечать с потолка. Не вздумайте, будьте добры. Заправьте чернилами ручки, пожалуйста, будьте добры. Внимание, входит учитель, мечтатель, а также мыслитель. Всем ушки держать на макушке, пожалуйста, будьте бодры.
Dear Sasha, the teacher look just suits you endlessly.
Thanks a lot, Konstantin. Probably because I'm a mom of 2 school kids. Well, 1, a schoolboy and a future schoolgirl. My daughter's just getting ready to start 1st grade.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, I think thanks to them, I'm reliving all those joys, sometimes sadness, worries, and challenges over and over.
And I'm sure it's all for a good reason. Someday, your kids might also step onto this stage to receive an award. Because our laureates, famous scientists who once went to school for the first time.
Почему сегодня Петя просыпался 10 раз?
Потому что он сегодня поступает в 1 класс.
Он теперь не просто мальчик, а теперь он новичок. У него на новой куртке отложной воротничок.
Он проснулся ночью темной. Было только 3 часа. Он ужасно испугался, что урок уж начался.
Он оделся, в 2 минуты со стола схватил пенал, папа бросился вдогонку. У дверей его догнал.
За стеной соседи встали, электричество зажгли.
За стеной соседи встали, а потом опять легли.
Разбудил он всю квартиру, до утра заснуть не мог. Даже бабушке приснилось, что твердит она урок.
Даже дедушке приснилось, что стоит он у доски, и не может он на карте отыскать Москва-реки.
Почему сегодня Петя просыпался 10 раз?
Потому что он сегодня поступает в в первый класс.
Years passed. And today, former first graders have become leading scientists. However, right now, they're as nervous as back then when they first went to school. Maybe they even didn't sleep last night and were just as worried. And again they practiced their speeches, keeping their loved ones awake.
Let's not keep them waiting. After all, today's their day, their evening, their celebration.
A celebration of science. So, the first category is future. It's dedicated to scientists who haven't reached 35 years old when nominated.
My name's Vera Vil. I'm the head of the Industrial Useful Products Chemistry Lab at the Institute of Organic Chemistry. We invent new reactions. We try to create methods to form new bonds that will require as few resources as possible. By removing extra reagents and applying electric current, we make our methods more atom and energy efficient. Our methods and techniques enable the development of new plant protection products, microelectronics components, and also compounds that can be used to produce polymer materials. A power cable connects to each house. Our compounds allow to create an insulating layer in the power cable, which is designed to protect the copper wire from external influences. Protecting plants means security for our country and, actually, for all humanity, because if we have nothing to eat, we'll just stop existing. There are many phytopathogenic strains and microbes now that aren't affected by current plant protection methods. And it's very important to develop new active substances that don't face resistance. We've developed a new class of organic peroxides and created a very affordable way to synthesize them. And these compounds have proven their safety against both laboratory animals and pollinators. I was born and raised in Angarsk, in the Irkutsk region. I had an amazing chemistry teacher, Oksana Nikolaevna Smolyakova, who inspired me to work, study, and not give up when things don't work out.
Dear Vera, on behalf of the entire scientific committee, I congratulate you on being chosen as the 2025 VYZOV Prize Laureate in the Future category. Your work has deeply impressed us.
Oh my God. Is it true? I can't even believe it. You have no idea how happy I am. For me, the VYZOV Prize means much more than just recognition of my personal achievements. For me, it's recognition of the work of our entire laboratory and the team that stands behind me. It's an absolutely amazing feeling when you can create a new substance, a new matter that didn't exist anywhere in the universe before with your own hands. Love for science. It's really similar to love in the broad sense of that word. It starts with infatuation, curiosity, the wish to try some spectacular reactions. Then it grows into something deeper, where you want to make a difference for your institute, your country, maybe even the whole world. To present the prize in the future category, please welcome Alexey Evgenievich Likhachev, CEO of the State Corporation Rosatom.
Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, the very name of this category, future, is, I think, a perfect symbol of what our winners actually do. VYZOV, searching, insight, solution, and of course future, the chance for people to actually realize, express all that, which we dreamed of, sought out, discovered. For the first time in the history of the VYZOV Prize, a female scientist will step up on stage as the winner. This person hasn't just proven a theorem showing that there's still so much left to do in science. People often say, what's left to do in fundamental science? Everything's been discovered. It's a matter of technical progress. No, finding new ways to synthesize materials, for industry, agriculture, medicine, healthcare, that's definitely, clearly a step forward, even in big science. We wholeheartedly congratulate you, Vera Andreevna, wishing you happiness, health, and many more victories. The VYZOV Prize in the category Future for developing methods of forming new chemical bonds using electric current and organic peroxides goes to Head of the Laboratory of Chemistry of Industrially Useful Products at the Zelinsky Institute of Organic Chemistry, Russian Academy of Sciences, Vera Andreevna Vil.
You know, first of all, I want to express huge thanks to the VYZOV Foundation for incredible work, promoting knowledge, technology, and science as key values of modern society. Scientists' work is very hard. It's an everyday work that sometimes fails, when there's danger all around, when it's even tough to tell your family what you're doing. And all this is to uncover nature's laws and create technologies useful to society. And it's a huge joy that our country has a foundation which shines a spotlight on people like this. Modern chemistry is the science of large teams. And I want to give a huge thanks to the team at the Zelinsky Institute of Organic Chemistry and the entire Russian Academy of Sciences. The person I owe my success to is my academic advisor, Alexander Olegovich Terentiev. I came to him as a third-year student and stayed because he always had cookies for hungry students. And now I come to him as the head of the laboratory to meetings with the CEO. Alexander Olegovich, your strictness and wise advice made this award actually possible. And I am endlessly grateful to you. My path in chemistry began with my wonderful teacher, Oksana Nikolaevna Smolyakova. Oksana Nikolaevna, your love and dedication give ordinary kids from Angarsk a ticket to big science. And also huge thanks to my family and friends for always supporting me. Your love gives me strength. Thank you. We'd like to invite another winner to the stage, so the audience can give our applause to the wonderful teacher, chemistry teacher at the Angarsk Yangel Lyceum, Oksana Nikolaevna Smolyakova. Vera, she really didn't plan on studying chemistry at all. Actually, it was me who planned on becoming a chemist. I just loved it, that science. I worked with kids preparing them for Olympiads. Honestly, I didn't really believe in girls. Please forgive me for that. Because I always thought science was actually driven by men. The problem was that there wasn't a kid to prepare for the Olympiad at the Lyceum. The choice fell on Vera. We worked with her during lessons, after lessons, during holidays, every single break. Only Vera, me, and her parents know how much pressure she faced from every side and understand the extent of what she had to go through. But Vera never cried, and today I saw tears in her eyes on the screen for the first time. And honestly, that makes me really happy. I'm proud that Vera has redirected chemistry to serve humanity. Thank you so much, dear Vera.
Thank you. It's an absolute happiness when a teacher can enjoy the fruits of their work. And when a student can thank their teacher. About this are these wonderful lines by Andrei Dementiev.
Не смейте забывать учителей. Они о нас тревожатся и помнят. И в тишине задумавшихся комнат ждут наших возвращений и вестей. Им не хватает этих встреч нечастых, и сколько бы ни миновало лет, случается учительское счастье из наших ученических побед. А мы порой так равнодушны к ним, Под Новый год не шлем им поздравлений, а в суете или попросту из лени не пишем, не заходим, не звоним. Они нас ждут, они звенят за нами и радуются всякий раз о тех, кто снова где-то выдержал экзамен на мужество, на честность, на успех. Не смейте забывать учителей. Пусть будет жизнь достойна их усилий. Учителями славится Россия, ученики приносят славу ей. Не смейте забывать учителей.
We don't just think about the future. We bring it closer. We don't just dream of scientific breakthroughs. We help make them happen. We don't just expect achievements from scientists. We create the conditions for them. Tomorrow's technologies are born from today's challenges. Gazprombank. The future is made together. Together with the government, we shape new attitudes towards science and the people behind it. They are our pride. So today, like every year, so many stars gather in this hall. Stars of art, politics, business and sports. And it would be a crime to miss the chance to talk with them. I'm happy to hand over the floor to the director of the Alexandrinsky Theatre and also the host, Alexander Malich. Thank you very much, Konstantin. This is the peak of my career. First time at the front desk. I'm right next to Alexey Fyodorov. Alexey, my question is this. About the future nomination, of course. It seems clear how to judge a scientist who's had a long career. But what about a young scientist? At the formal VYZOV Awards ceremony, the phrase that scientists are stars fits perfectly. There are already established stars who shine, radiate, for a long time. But sometimes we witness the incredible birth of a new star. That star gives a very bright, powerful, creative impulse. In the fields of science and technology these scientists work in. So, these young scientists are the ones we consider in the future category. And we're really glad to see that year after year, our winners show how bright the contribution young scientists make to science and technology in Russia is. Thank you very much. I'll keep moving along the front rows. Konstantin Mayor, why and when did you decide to support VYZOV? Dear friends, good evening to everyone. Today I want to congratulate everyone on Science Day. Science isn't something abstract. It's about people. Today we see worthy people coming on stage. And we tell the whole country about the results of these people's work. That's what this award is about, what we and our union are about. The media union, the awards union, speaks about our outstanding people. Science comes out onto the streets, reaches young people and every person in Russia. Thank you very much, Konstantin. And I'm already here with Alexey Efimovich Uchitel. Good evening, Alexey Efimovich. What do you think technology, computer graphics, and unlimited image processing, AI, is it a blessing for filmmakers or still a threat? First of all, my last name is Uchitel, though I'm still learning. I'm learning to work with AI, how to use it, so that, on one hand, it makes things easier for us. But on the other hand, we don't lose the most important thing, talent, high artistic quality. There's, for example, the remarkable film VYZOV. What if we had done all that with the help of artificial intelligence? Huh? I actually was at Baikonur when they launched our two filmmakers into space. That's something completely unique, and we can't lose that. At the same time, for example, to fill your entire hall. That's a huge crowd, but you can do that much easier and cheaper with the help of artificial intelligence. So that's why I'm for intuition, including artificial intelligence, so that it both helps and pushes us forward, intellectually. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alexey Efimovich. Alexey Efimovich mentioned the film VYZOV. I suddenly thought that once the great Stanley Kubrick went to just incredible lengths in order to film weightlessness, Could he even have imagined that, half a century later, Russian filmmakers would go to space to shoot cinema in space under real, weightless conditions? What will tomorrow bring?
I'm sure that there will soon be the first film studio on the moon. On Venus, a cosmetic clinic. On Pluto, an amusement park named after Yuri Gagarin. On Jupiter, a Moscow State University branch. And on Mercury, a state-of-the-art mall.
And on Mars?
And on Mars, apple trees will bloom.
Жить и верить это замечательно. Перед нами небывалые пути. Утверждают космонавты и мечтатели, что на Марсе будут яблони цвести. Хорошо, когда с тобой товарищи, всю вселенную проехать и пройти. Звезды встретятся с землею расцветающей, и на Марсе будут яблони цвести. Я со звездами сдружилась дальними. Не волнуйся обо мне и не грусти. Покидая нашу землю, обещали мы, что на Марсе будут яблони цвести. Покидая нашу землю, обещали мы, что на Марсе будут яблони цвести.
Friends, let's welcome Seville. Apple trees on Mars. That sounds like artistic license. But, on the other hand, how often the wildest fantasies of writers, directors, artists turn into reality after years. There are countless examples of that. In the book Hard to be a God, the Strugatsky brothers described holographic technologies.
Martin Caidin, in the 1972 novel Cyborg, predicted the emergence of bionic prosthetics.
And Mark Twain, back in 1898, described something called a telelectroscope. And it's incredibly similar to the World Wide Web. With a device connected to the international phone network, you could watch life anywhere on Earth, talk to people, and access any information.
Poets, writers, artists, people of art are like children, recklessly dreaming in the quiet of their offices. They make wishes, jot them down on paper or tape, and scientists bring these dreams to life. Those are the real wizards.
And in a way, today, on the eve of the new year, thanks to the VYZOV Prize, in the Moscow Manege Hall, a global meeting of wizards is happening.
The magic category.
Sasha.
Sorry, in the engineering solution category, the award is given for an important invention or creation of new technologies that already have practical use.
I'm Mikhail Vladimirovich Skupov. I am engaged in the development of nuclear fuel at the Bochvar Scientific Research Institute of Inorganic Materials. Alexey Glushenkov, chief expert. We create next-generation fuel for fast neutron reactors. Nitride fuel features high thermal conductivity, low heat capacity, and high density of fissile materials. These are the key traits that let us produce a large amount of energy. Mixed nitride fuel offers new qualities for the reactor core, meaning better safety characteristics. Fast reactors, especially the Brest OD300 project, focus on closing the fuel cycle. Closing the fuel cycle means recycling spent nuclear fuel from the reactor core, extracting useful fissile stuff, and returning it to the fuel cycle. Unfortunately, now there isn't much natural uranium left on the planet. And mixed uranium-plutonium nitride fuel lets us use the depleted uranium that's now stockpiled in large amounts. In Seversk, at the pilot demonstration energy complex site, a fuel production plant is nearly complete. The next phase is building the Brest OD-300 reactor unit. This construction will finish in the next few years. The third phase is a plant for nuclear fuel recycling. This way, a closed fuel cycle will form all on one site. Our main goals are boosting safety, cutting costs, and extending resource life. Fast neutron reactor technologies, on an industrial scale, only exist in Russia today. Tomsk is a really good place when it comes to human resources and talent. There are amazing universities here that make a great contribution to the development of the scientific side. Because the pilot demonstration energy complex is a complex that will generate technologies. You've been nominated for the 2025 VYZOV Prize in the Engineering Solution category. You've created a new generation of nuclear fuel, and that's a huge achievement on a global scale. Well, that's incredible. Incredible. The competition is huge. Of course, we're all working towards results, but also we expect recognition for that. Today, honestly, what I heard is like the dream come true all at once in one decision. It was unexpected, like a blow to the head. Pride, I don't know, for myself, for all the work, for the whole team you built. Since 1996, Alexey Evgenievich and I have been working together. Everything we know, everything we can do, we developed hand in hand. My mentor, Valery Alexandrovich Astafyev, was the head of the group at the lab where Alexey Evgenievich and I actually worked. Our boss taught us how to have the right attitude to life. That's when there's a balance between a person's desires and the team's goals. We bring in young people, because young people can bring new ideas. The process is cyclical, endless. Everything we're moving and developing today is closely tied to the future of our country, the next generation. To present the award, please welcome to the stage the chairman of the VYZOV Foundation Council, Ruslan Raufovich Yunusov. Good evening, dear students. You know the word technology. What comes to mind when you hear it? For me, one of the first things is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to change our lives completely beyond recognition. But on the other hand, maybe in the next few years, progress in artificial intelligence might actually stop. And that's not because we won't be able to build data centers or make computers. We might simply not have enough electricity. And even if we're not talking about AI, you often hear this: how long will our fossil fuel last on the entire planet Earth? Well, maybe it's decades. So what should we do? And here, it's an engineering solution, an engineering breakthrough. You've probably already heard about a new type of fuel. But let me tell you, not as modest as our laureates said, because they're developing fuel that can be used 100 times more efficiently. 100 times. That means our uranium fuel reserves on Earth will last not just decades, but thousands of years. Just imagine, what does 100 times mean? Well, if you fill up your car, the next time you'll need to refuel is in a few years. Come on, everyone has phones. You charge them every morning and think, it's charged, but will it last me till tonight? But 100 times means you charge your phone in May and you're set for the whole summer. In September you charge it again. That's 100 times. That's an engineering breakthrough. Today we have a very interesting ceremony. We're remembering school, our teachers, continuity. I myself am trained as a fundamental physicist, but I grew up in an engineering family. My dad, now retired, he's one of those great creative engineers. And through him, I personally saw how engineering solutions can change our lives for the better. So it's doubly special for me to present the award today in the category Engineering Solution. The VYZOV Prize in the category Engineering Solution for developing the technology for industrial production of nitride nuclear fuel goes to Mikhail Vladimirovich Skupov, Deputy General Director of the High-Tech Academic Bochvar Institute of Inorganic Materials.
Mikhail Vladimirovich Skupov.
Thank you very much. But first of all, of course, I want to thank the VYZOV Foundation and the scientific committee of this foundation. The work was done within the Breakthrough Project by the state corporation Rosatom. This is one of the large, I'd say, the largest scientific project. And today, industrial production of nitride fuel has been created. And it's being created by the top experts at the Siberian Chemical Combine, the fuel company of Rosatom. But that's just the start of rolling out a new technological platform for nuclear energy. I want to thank my loved ones, those I worked with, and those who taught me, and those who helped. On Monday, when we'll go to work to make our life a little better, I'll already know that it was all worth it. I want to invite to this stage Alexey Glushenkov, the man I've worked side by side with all this time, without whom this victory wouldn't have been possible. Good evening. I want to ask the VYZOV Prize Organizing Committee to give us the award, but not a top grade, rather a failing one, and to hold us back for another year. But seriously, it's very comfortable here. And we promise we'll come back here again. Thank you. And now let's talk with our guests. I see Alexander Malich is ready to ask a question to the wonderful writer Evgeny Vodolaskin. Evgeny Germanovich, good evening. Patience and perseverance, or does the text come suddenly and there's no direct link between effort and result? Well, usually patience and perseverance lead to a flash of insight. You need to create a certain electric field. A person sits, digs into dictionaries, looks things up. Then something arises, something above the text. Personally, I suppose that writing, like, say, other forms of creativity, is an energy process. It's when you exchange energy with someone out there, and then something starts to flow through you. Why this happens? Well, I guess you need to ask even higher up. All right, thank you very much. Today we also have Irina Timofeeva, Doctor of Chemical Sciences. Irina, have you, like Mendeleev, ever found a solution in a dream?
Actually, that's a favorite question from students. And I always answer that it's really a fairy tale, a myth. And it even kind of undervalues the years of hard, persistent work of this great, brilliant scientist. As for me and my dreams, well, in dreams I probably just see the folk wisdom that says, morning is wiser than evening. If something doesn't work out in the evening, the experiment's stuck, energy's low, you just need to go to sleep, sleep on it, and by morning the solution will definitely come.
In any unclear situation, go to bed.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot.
Well then, I also want to take this moment, this second, and ask you, Konstantin, how do you compose?
Sasha, to answer your question, I'll recall moments from my life. After finishing university, I went on an internship to teach Russian language and literature to 8th and 9th graders. I taught for half a year, and I clearly remember leaving school at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I was completely drained, absolutely wiped out. That's when I realized that a true God-given gift is the ability to spend yourself, to endlessly spend yourself on people, on your work, on those who need you. That is the ability not to get tired.
Не позволяй душе лениться, чтоб в ступе воду не толочь, она обязана трудиться и день, и ночь, и день, и ночь. Гони ее от дома к дому, тащи с этапа на этап, по пустырю, по бурелому, через сугроб, через ухаб. Не разрешай ей спать в постели при свете утренней звезды. Держи лентяйку в черном теле и не снимай с нее узды. Коль дать ей вздумаешь поблажку, освобождая от работ, она последнюю рубашку с тебя без жалости сорвет. А ты хватай ее за плечи, учи и мучи до темна, чтоб жить с тобой по-человечьи училась заново она. Она рабыня и царица, она работница и дочь. Она обязана трудиться и день, и ночь, и день, и ночь.
We're not just thinking about the future, we're bringing it closer. We don't just dream about scientific breakthroughs, we help make them happen. We don't just wait for scientists to achieve, we create the conditions for them. Tomorrow's technology is born from today's challenges. Gazprombank. The future is made together. The Breakthrough Award nomination is for research that solved an important scientific or technological challenge. My name is Ilia Yampolsky, Deputy Director for Research at the Institute of Bioorganic Chemistry of the Russian Academy of Sciences. My work focuses on studying the natural mechanisms of bioluminescence, that is, light emission by living organisms, and looking for applications for this knowledge. The emission of light quanta can serve as a signal that devices can easily detect. It allows us to monitor tumor development. That's one of the most popular applications. Then we can see how a drug affects those tumors. We can watch how certain enzymes work inside cells. When the process you need happens, you can see how light is emitted, which lets you judge the intensity and speed of that process. We were among the first in the world to control complex traits in plants governed by gene complexes. This method can be used to create agricultural plant varieties with improved traits, more resistant to pests, drought, and cold. There's a misconception that genetically modified organisms are automatically something bad. Actually, that's not true. They make it possible to produce medicines like insulin, antibodies. Without genetically modified microorganisms, humanity just couldn't treat most diseases with modern drugs. Our technologies allow us to elevate useful genetic modifications in plants to a new level. Dear Ilia, congratulations, you've been nominated for the 2025 VYZOV Prize in the Breakthrough category. That's beautiful. I'm really happy, honestly. It's a huge honor for me to receive such a prestigious award. And, of course, this wouldn't be even possible without the hard work of the team I represent. This is also a responsibility, both personally for me and for our team. Now we need to bring even more benefits to our science, to our society. I've been interested in chemistry and biology since I was a child. My dad is a well-known pianist, and my mom is a French teacher. And so they managed to find the right school for me. It was the biology class at school number 43. The founder of that class is Sergei Mendelevich Glagolev. That bio class has been successfully running for over 30 years. And a large group of today's biologists, chemists, they're all alumni of this bio class. The plants that are glowing now, they feel just like unmodified plants. That means the glowing doesn't drain much of their life energy. Today, the brightness of this glow is comparable to, for example, wristwatches glowing in the dark. And if you imagine it growing 10 times brighter, these plants could easily become a source of eco-friendly lighting.
Please welcome to the stage the head of the Federal Medical Biological Agency, Veronika Igorevna Skvortsova. Dear friends, dear colleagues, lifelong students, and I have the honor to present the winner of a special nomination, the person who achieved a scientific breakthrough. A breakthrough connected to one of the most mysterious and mesmerizing phenomena in the world. And by that, I mean the ability of living organisms to emit their own light. Our winner was the first in the world to be able to decipher the mechanisms of bioluminescence, or simply put, glowing, in different living organisms. He was able to successfully synthesize them and then transfer the genes from the host organism, which was the glowing fungus, into an organism that was part of a completely different kingdom of living beings, a plant, therefore creating the first glowing plants in the world. I am head of the Federal Medical Biological Agency, and I want to emphasize this with a deep sense of responsibility. The results of this research cannot be overstated. It will enable us to study every intracellular process in detail in the future. Our winner has created a highly precise tool that will allow for the development of new, more modern methods of diagnosing and treating various diseases of humans and other living beings. Congratulations!
The VYZOV Prize, in the breakthrough category, for deciphering the molecular mechanisms of bioluminescence and creating glowing plants, goes to the chief scientific researcher of the Laboratory of Metabolic Pathway Chemistry at the Shemyakin and Ovchinnikov Institute of Bioorganic Chemistry of the RAS, Ilia Yampolsky. Dear Veronika Igorevna, dear friends, thank you very much for such a great honor. To become one of the laureates, many of whom serve as my inspiration. Today we're remembering school. It's a real pleasure to see my teacher, Sergei Mendelovich Glagolev here, who created a unique, even on a global scale, I believe, educational phenomenon that has had no equivalence in the world. It's a biology class that has existed for almost 40 years now. Sergei Mendelovich has been its consistent leader. Today, that means hundreds of graduates working in chemistry, biology, and shaping the face of reality around us. Dear friends, well then, let's take the moment. Sorry, Ilya, we'll come back to you soon. But first, let me invite to the stage Sergei Mendelovich Glagolev, biology teacher at Moscow School number 1543, author of 6 school textbooks, more than 100 educational aids, as well as many popular science articles. Thank you very much. I've been praised a lot, but I'm going to praise myself a bit more now. Our school, number 1543, just recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. I was looking at the hall, filled with our alumni, and couldn't help but notice how many people of the most humane and noble professions were sitting right there. I thought to myself, well, our role is really small. We only pushed them a bit in that direction. Nevertheless, our work wasn't in vain. But that absolutely doesn't apply to Ilya, because there was no need to push him anywhere. He chose his path by himself, and he confidently followed it by himself. And the only thing we had to do was not to get in his way. Well, we tried. Thank you very much, Sergei Mendelovich, but I don't agree, of course. I think without the bio class, nothing like this would have happened. To wrap up, I'd like to say that we have quite a large team, and honestly everyone on this team, each member, knows their field way better than I do. And I want to give a big thanks to all these people for their contribution. And finally, my greatest thanks obviously go to my family. my dad, Viktor Izakovich, and my mom, Elena Vladimirovna, and my beloved wife Dasha, for their endless support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again, and congratulations to you, Ilia.
Удачи! Удачи вам, сельские и городские уважаемые учителя! Добрые, злые и никакие капитаны на мостике корабля. Удачи! Дебютанты и асы, удачи особенно по утрам, когда вы входите в школьные классы. Одни как в клетку, другие как в храм. Удачи вам, занятые делами которых не завершить все равно. Накрепко скованной кандалами, инструкций и окриков, горано, удачи вам. По-разному выглядящие, с затеями без всяких затей, любящие или ненавидящие этих, будь они трижды детей. Вы знаете, мне по-прежнему верится, что если останется жить Земля, высшим достоинством человечества станут когда-нибудь учителя. Не на словах, а по вещей традиции, которой завтрашней жизни подстать учителем надо будет родиться. И только после этого стать. В нем будет мудрость талантлива, дерзкая. Он будет солнце нести на крыле. Учитель – профессия дальнего действия. Главное на земле.
The profession of long-range impact isn't just about teachers. Science as a whole gives the ability to look into the future. And a scientist is someone who looks beyond the horizon of events. One of those great scientists was Evgeny Pavlovich Velikov. He's an example of how a person with an uncompromising idea and firm belief in its importance can be ahead of their time and leave behind not just a scientific breakthrough, but whole new paradigms. Velikov was sure science has no boundaries. That very spirit of openness, collaboration, and bold breakthrough into the future is exactly what we celebrate today in the category Discovery.
The Discovery Award is given for important discoveries that have influenced the progress of science and tech and have made a significant contribution to the progress of global science.
I am Valery Fokin, a professor at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Our research resulted in a whole new invention, to be totally specific. Catalyzed cycloaddition isn't a discovery, it didn't exist, it's an invention. It only came into existence as a result of our curiosity and intuition. The highlight of this research and the specific reaction I developed is catalytic azide alkene cycloaddition. These are compounds, unknown in living nature, they go unnoticed there. To connect them, you'll need a third catalyst component of some kind and a small amount of copper. And this lets them stay unnoticed in the presence of all the other molecules, because these fragments don't interact with anything except each other. This connection is so strong it lasts forever. With our methods, we can create treatment that makes it possible to detect the earliest stages of metastasis development and deliver medicine very selectively only to these tissues. So the amounts of medication can be significantly reduced, therefore less harmful to the patient. One of the first medications developed in this class is for treating triple-negative breast cancer. I was invited to a radiologist's conference and they started showing that using our methods, they detected metastases in real patients. I knew it was used, but the fact that patients actually tried it, and now there are tens of thousands of people getting infusions without having to stay in the hospital. Yeah, it's very emotional. This reaction lets us change the properties of materials, making them more resistant to microorganisms. And that's very important for artificial heart valves, artificial joints that never, after implantation, get the proper blood supply, the necessary nutrients. I was born and raised in Nizhny Novgorod, a beautiful city where the Oka and Volga meet. My grandfather was a great pharmacist. Even back in elementary school, I spent summers in the hospital where my grandmother worked as head nurse. And we caught a cat with the X-ray techs and decided to X-ray it, to see what's inside, you know. Before that, I gathered some herbs, made tinctures, treated my childhood toys. Chemistry was always very simple for me. When I first read my textbook in 7th grade, it was so clear to me I didn't have to study anything. We had a very good lab assistant, Marina Vladimirovna Filipushchenko. She let me do whatever I wanted as long as I didn't disrupt the class. I'd go to the lab assistant's room and play with reagents. That's probably when that intuition started to develop. Because when you touch with your own hands, smell, sometimes even taste different reagents, you gain an understanding of how they behave, and you start handling them with more respect. Dear Valery, congratulations, you are the 2025 VYZOV Award winner in the international category Discovery. Thank you. It's, yeah, of course, a great honor and sign of recognition. Yeah. Recognition of my students, of course, as well as the many colleagues I've worked with and the people who have used this chemistry. Because the main catch, when you invent something and you feel like an intellectual, owner of something, is if nobody uses it, then it's all worth almost nothing. I see everything around me through my own unique molecular lens. The ocean, it always draws you in. It's beautiful itself. So many molecules. More molecules can fit into these waves, into these splashes from the ocean. They all have molecular meanings, just like everything else in life.
To present the award, please welcome to the board Deputy Chairman of Gazprombank's board, Dmitry Vladimirovich Zauers.
Good evening, dear friends. You know, the scientists we really admire and support with all our might have one incredible quality that amazes us every time we meet. It's the ability to see harmony, beauty in the most complex processes. What helps with that? It's the experiments. Childlike experiments that feed curiosity. The fact that they aren't afraid to make mistakes when things don't work out. Vera Timofeyeva said you need to sleep on it. But what do you do once you wake up? When you don't know what to do, it's best to take the first step. And about 20 years ago, our winner took a very brave step like that. A combination of copper sulfate we all know from chemistry class and vitamin C from the pharmacy, fueled by a desire to experiment, changed the chemistry world. Efficient and simple like building blocks, click chemistry reactions make it possible to create unique materials that don't exist in nature. Create new medicines. From the building blocks of matter, I feel like a chemistry teacher here right now. Thank you. And you know, Gazprombank has known this technology for a long time. For over 20 years, we've been building new industries from the building blocks of science, ideas, knowledge, picking such catalysts every time as faith in people and faith in the future of our country. It took a while for the award to find our hero. And the chemical reaction you're about to see on stage is very much awaited. And seemingly obvious to many chemists around the world. For us, it's a huge honor that it's happening right here in Russia, the hero's homeland, and that it's the VYZOV Foundation that became its catalyst. The VYZOV Award in the Discovery category for inventing the reaction that launched click chemistry and transformed molecular science, as well as the chemistry of living systems, goes to Professor of the University of Southern California, Valery Valerievich Fokin. Dear colleagues, dear friends, chemistry has its own drama. You lose sleep at night, wishing molecules would follow your script, but they, like Faina Ranevskaya, perform their own play. Then, suddenly, two simple, almost childlike things lift the curtain on what's inside what we call a complex, fascinating molecular theater, which in reality is all the life itself around us. It looks like improvisation, but actually, such an improvisation could not be possible. Behind this is education. Behind this is tradition. I'm proud to admit, what shaped me was the Russian scientific education, based on principle. Daring, confident, and always aware of the importance of experimenting and the level of respect that experimental sciences demand. Thank you so much to colleagues, friends, students with whom we shared the joys of discovery. And sometimes, I would even say very often, the disappointments in experiments that were supposed to go perfectly fine. I'm very grateful to my family, to my parents, for their faith in me that was stronger, firmer, more powerful than any catalyst. To my children, who open my eyes every day to the fact that the world doesn't end in the lab. And certainly to my wife, for her unwavering faith and patience with all of my quote-unquote brilliant ideas that can sometimes come not at the best moments. A huge thanks to all of you. It's an honor for me to be here. And also thanks to the VYZOV Foundation, because honestly, you took a risk stepping outside the usual. And that's exactly where all the sparkle and charm of what we call scientific breakthroughs lies. Thank you. Thank you, Valery. Earlier you mentioned your teacher, Marina Vladimirovna Filipushchenko. A perfect example that a teacher is more than a function. A true teacher inspires, gives wings, and fuels dreams. It's been a long time since you've seen her. Literally, decades. And I think that's just wrong. That needs to be fixed right away. Please welcome to the stage Marina Vladimirovna Filipushchenko.
Good evening. You know, for me, honestly, it was quite a surprise to be standing here now. Because imagine a young girl who made a decision to become a chemist in 7th grade, comes to school after graduating college and is given 7, even 8 classes to teach at the same time, each of them having more than 40 students. And suddenly, among all of that, sees this young boy, who's always smiling, is incredibly curious about everything, and is always asking for some chemistry books. I was obviously very surprised, but the thing is, our time together didn't last very long. I never really thought that in this short period of time, I could somehow pass on this love I myself had. I'm genuinely touched by the fact that Valera still remembers that he was once taught 7th grade chemistry by me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We don't just think about the future, we are bringing it closer. We don't just dream of scientific discoveries, we help turn them into reality. We don't just wait for achievements from scientists, we create the conditions for them. The technologies of tomorrow are born in the challenges of today. Gazprom Bank, creating the future together. Now it is time to once again pass the word back to Alexander Malich. Today we have Vyacheslav Fetisov with us. Vyacheslav Alexandrovich. With sports, especially team sports, it's hard to tell if it's work or inspiration. Have there been moments in your life when you played not just well, but with such inspiration, as if a divine spark came down on you and the team? I can say it's a huge honor to be here today. Honestly, I feel like Hollywood and the Nobel Prize are left far behind. Because it's so creative and beautiful here that it's a joy to the eyes. But most importantly, we understand that today, it is the right choice to celebrate the people who drive civilization forward in this kind of format. Speaking about inspiration, I understand that there's a challenge and know that in order to glide on the ice, enjoy yourself and bring joy to the fans, you gotta train hard. I like to repeat what the great Tarasov taught us. If you understand that the most important thing is your country's name on your chest and your team, not your own name on your back, then you will be unbeatable. I'd also mention our chemistry here, because everyone remembers the legendary five: Vladimir Krutov, Sergei Makarov, Igor Larionov, Alexey Kasatonov, Vyacheslav Fetisov. We made art! We glided on the ice, precisely because we knew it was needed for our families, our friends, our country. And yeah, 5 people who understand each other with half a word is exactly what sparks inspiration. That's why we beat everyone. Thank you very much, Vyacheslav Alexandrovich. Anatoly Garbuzov, Minister of the Moscow government, head of the city's Department of Investment and Industrial Policy. Anatoly, Moscow is definitely a leader not just in Russia, but also worldwide in adopting new technologies, and these technologies are part of everyday life for the city's residents. The best education, healthcare, transport, digitalization, comfort, all of that is Moscow. It combines amazing tech and coziness. How do you manage to combine it? You literally said everything I wanted to say just now. That's my job. The mayor of Moscow pays great attention to making sure Moscow stays a city of innovation, a city of the future, a city of technology, a city of quality. To put it simply, the very best city in the world. Because what we are celebrating right now and what we're recognizing our nominees for is obviously a huge effort on their side. Today, it's a scientific breakthrough. Tomorrow, it's new technology. And the day after, it's a full-scale production and quality of life for citizens and guests of the city. This is really important because in Moscow, we have everything necessary for growth of both scientific and industrial potential of the economy. And the government of Moscow will continue to support the VYZOV Prize, of course, because it's vital for us to highlight the scientists' contribution to the life of every resident of the capital. Thank you. Thank you very much.
До чего дошел прогресс? До невиданных чудес. Опустился на глубины и поднялся до небес. Позабыты хлопоты, остановлен бег, вкалывают роботы, а не человек. До чего дошел прогресс? Труд физический исчез, да и умственный заменит механический процесс. Позабыты хлопоты, остановлен бег, вкалывают роботы, а не человек. До чего дошел прогресс? Было времени в обрез, а теперь гуляй по свету. Хочешь с песней, хочешь без. Позабыты хлопоты, остановлен бег, вкалывают роботы, счастлив человек. Позабыты хлопоты, остановлен бег, вкалывают роботы, счастлив человек.
Now it's time to announce the nomination, Scientist of the Year. The award for overall personal contribution and changing the landscape of science and technology goes to Stepan Kalmykov, RAS academician and scientific director of the chemistry department at MSU. My science is about developing fields of radiochemistry and related sciences that bring peaceful, atomic energy to all of us. My work focuses on the behavior of radionuclides in various systems, in technological systems, as well as in the environment and in biomedical systems. It is specifically centered around various physico-chemical properties. They are the ones that determine which technologies can be used and will be the most effective for processing spent nuclear fuel and handling radioactive waste, and how to solve environmental issues in certain areas, including the polluted ones. The radionuclides that already got out into the environment, do they affect people or not? Do they affect the biosphere, animals, plants? Are they dangerous or not? Finally, we deal with biomedical research, nuclear medicine, so the form in which we introduce a radionuclide into the human body. We get images showing the distribution of certain pathologies or ways of treatment. This is also about the physical-chemical properties of those radionuclides. Dear Stepan, on behalf of the whole scientific committee, I congratulate you on receiving the 2025 VYZOV Award in the Scientist of the Year category. This is amazing news. This award truly means a great deal to me because it is a sign of recognition from colleagues, and colleagues that I deeply respect. What's especially important is that it's not just someone's personal choice, but a collective decision which underlines, with even more strength, that as a young boy at the Department of Chemistry, back in '91, I made the right choice. Of course, I'm grateful to Moscow State University. I spent my entire conscious life here as a student, a graduate student, then staff at the chemistry department, eventually becoming dean. In shaping any scientist and their further development, the scientific advisor plays a huge role. They basically raise an individual, capable of independent thought and scientific pursuit. For me, Yuri Alexandrovich Sapochnikov was such a person who influenced my entire career. It's thanks to him that I chose radiochemistry as my future profession. I'm absolutely sure that from the point of view of research in this specific field, related to modern nuclear energy, using radionuclides, Russia is definitely a leader at the moment. Modern science almost always, 99.9% of the time I would say, means teamwork. It is work that even goes beyond one team most of the time, and of course, a type of work that involves a constant flow of new students coming in. Scientists and science are about the future. You have to be a visionary, know which direction to go, what fields to develop, and what could give a big surge in terms of practical application in the next 20 years, or maybe even 50. You know what chemistry is to me? It is my profession, of course. But besides that, chemistry is my life. Chemistry is my love. Chemistry is my way of service to humanity.
To present the award in the nomination, please welcome to the stage the Minister of Higher Education and Science of the Russian Federation, Valery Nikolaevich Falkov.
Dear friends, let me take this opportunity to thank those standing at the origins of this award and working hard to make sure it not only stays as beautiful as it is, but also attracts more attention each year, including the attention of young boys and girls deciding on a career in science, those writing dissertations today and defending them. I would like to express gratitude to Gazprom Bank, to Andrei Igorovich Akimov personally and his team, to Alexey Yevgenyevich Likhachev, to the company Rosatom, and Alexey's amazing big team as a whole. Together we have been carrying out a number of large-scale, interesting and very significant projects. Thank you all for your attention to the research and development field. It's an incredible idea and a brilliant execution, and at the core of it all lies a simple thought or an answer to a question. When does a person become a scientist? A researcher? When they make a discovery? Of course not. When they write a thesis or pass their candidate exams? Of course not. When they enter grad school? No, that's too late. Maybe it's when they get their candidate or Doctor of Science degree, or the rank of corresponding member of the Russian Academy of Sciences or academician. Certainly not. The correct answer was clearly demonstrated to us today. A person becomes a scientist earlier when they're still in school. Back when their teacher, be it physics, chemistry, biology, geography, mathematics, literature, Russian language, or one of the other many teachers working with us, instills love for a certain scientific subject, a scientific direction. And that is when a desire arises to take part in this noble field of human activity called science. Thank you all again for this wonderful ceremony. It's a special honor for me to present the award today to this person. We've been working with him hand in hand for more than 5 years now. And this person is unique, as he has established himself not only as a scientist, as a chemist, and a truly outstanding chemist at that, but also as a brilliant organizer of science. And what's especially important to point out, he represents 2 different worlds, so to say. The world of academic science, since he's vice president of the Russian Academy of Sciences, an academician there. And on the other hand, he's not just a graduate of one of the leading universities in the world, a flagship of higher education, of the Russian Federation, a graduate of Lomonosov Moscow State University. But this person defended his dissertation there, established himself, became a dean, and this solid knowledge of university science, which has its own specifics, and academic science, the understanding of research institutes, their life and their working nuances, the knowledge of the unique intellectual corporation that is the Russian Academy of Sciences, makes today's laureate a truly unique person. And this person, who's about to step onto the stage, is Stepan Nikolaevich Kalmykov. The VYZOV Award in the category Scientist of the Year for basic and applied research in the field of radiochemistry and radiochemical technologies goes to Russian Academy of Sciences academician, head of the radiochemistry department at the chemistry faculty of Lomonosov Moscow State University, Stepan Nikolaevich Kalmykov. Dear Valery Nikolaevich, dear students, you know, it's really moving for me to stand in this hall and receive this award from Valery Nikolaevich. I am actually lucky to be doing a very fascinating science, the science of radiochemistry. The science of radiochemistry, along other nuclear sciences, has shaped the scientific, technological, and geopolitical outlines of the 20th century. And it continues to have a substantial impact in the 21st century. I would like to remind everyone of the great scientific and technological schools that were founded in the hardest times for our country following the Great Patriotic War, which we won, and then had to rapidly develop nuclear weapons from the get-go, because back then the very existence of the country was in question. And so, the scientific schools that appeared at the time, including the School of Radiochemists, they did the absolutely impossible while being under extremely tight resource limits. I'm proud that a huge number of academicians of the USSR Academy of Sciences worked on that project. Another stroke of luck in my life is that I was able to encounter a person along my path who is a living legend in the world of radiochemists. I'm talking about academician Boris Fyodorovich Myasoyedov, who's had a significant impact on my academic career. And you know, this September, we actually celebrated his 95th birthday. And by the way, this shows just how helpful radiation can actually be, even life-extending, so I'm starting to count on that too. If I talk about my very own roots, then, honestly, I was lucky to be born into a family of scientists. Although my parents' interests are totally different, they're historians. Anyway, I believe it was probably destined from the start that science would become my future profession. I'm very grateful to the members of the award's scientific committee. This award truly is extremely meaningful to me. Thank you once again. Thank you and congratulations. Let me invite Natalia Tretyak, General Director of the VYZOV Foundation for the Development of Scientific and Cultural Relations, and Artyom Oganov, Chair of the VYZOV Award Scientific Committee, Distinguished Professor at Skolkovo Institute of Science and Technology. How beautiful, right, friends? It's beautiful because it's true. At the core of science is the restless search for truth. Science is the last stronghold of objectivity in our world. And the truth in science is not a point of view, but a starting point. We chose to highlight not those who are decorating the building of science that's already constructed, but those who are laying the foundation for a new floor. And that's the meaning of the VYZOV Award. In this place, today, we're establishing a safe haven of much-needed scientific justice. It's a place where only the scale of one's thought and the essence of the work matter, not the prominence of the name. Let me tell you what most inspires me personally as a scientist. It is true that the world can often be unfair. But in science, where objective truth exists, that truth, and those honestly seeking it, sooner or later, will definitely be the winners.
Dear friends, as you know, the VYZOV Award is a community of people who believe in the supreme power and beauty of science, and most importantly, in the people who are building the future at this very moment. Every single day, scientists are doing the work that is improving the lives of millions. The purpose of our foundation is to tell their stories, just like we did here today, making it bright and unforgettable. Our goal is to show scientists as real heroes, to let the general public see not only their discoveries and achievements, but also the bright, brave, decisive, and incredibly compelling people behind them. We genuinely appreciate everyone who is helping us on this path. So, let me take a moment to express our sincere appreciation to our partners, Gazprombank, Rosatom, the Russian Science Foundation, Roscongress, the Moscow government, Media Holding, and many, many others. Believe me, there's no way to list everyone in such a short time. Without you, none of this would have been possible. Together, we are doing everything in our power so Russia can be proud of science and the people who have dedicated their entire lives to it.
Проходит сеятель по ровным бороздам. Отец его и дед по тем же шли путям. Сверкает золотом в его руке зерно, но в землю темную оно упасть должно. И там, где червь слепой прокладывает ход, оно в заветный срок умрет и прорастет. Так и душа моя идет путем зерна, сойдя во мрак, умрет. И оживет она, и ты, моя страна, и ты, ее народ. Умрешь и оживешь, пройдя за годом год, за тем, что мудрость нам единая дана. Всему живущему идти путем зерна.
With these lines, we wanted to sum up everything that we have talked about today. Because each of us, coming into this world, was no more than a seed that fell to the ground and started to grow. And the shape we took after that was determined by the encounters that awaited us, the sun that shone on us, the hands that protected us, and the ones that raised us. As Joseph Brodsky said, the future does not exist without the past. So, today in this hall, we allowed ourselves the luxury to go back for a couple of hours to that starting point.
Слышу голос из прекрасного далека, голос утренний в серебряной росе. Слышу голос и манящая дорога кружит голову, как в детстве карусель. Прекрасное далекое не будь ко мне жестоко, не будь ко мне жестоко, жестоко не будь. От чистого истока в прекрасное далеко, прекрасное далеко я начинаю путь. Слышу голос из прекрасного далека, он зовет меня в чудесные края. Слышу голос, голос спрашивает строго: а сегодня что для завтра сделал я? Прекрасное далеко, не будь ко мне жестоко, не будь ко мне жестоко, жестоко не будь. От чистого истока в прекрасное далеко, прекрасное далеко я начинаю путь. Я клянусь, что стану чище и добрее, и в беде не брошу друга никогда. Слышу голос и спешу на зов скорее, по дороге, на которой нет следа. Прекрасное далеко, не будь ко мне жестоко, не будь ко мне жестоко, жестоко не будь. От чистого истока в прекрасное далеко, прекрасное далеко я начинаю путь. Прекрасное далеко, не будь ко мне жестоко, не будь ко мне жестоко, жестоко не будь. От чистого истока в прекрасное далеко. В прекрасное далеко